Live from San Diego's news source, this is a 10 News Update.
Good morning. It's almost 7:30. I'm Koshal Patel. We're following breaking news off Sunset Cliffs. Right now, Sky 10 is over lifeguard headquarters. There you can see more than a dozen suspected illegal immigrants were just brought there after getting caught in a ponga boat about an hour ago. We're watching what happens and we'll update you on 10 News and 10news.com. We have new information on the 6-year-old found dead in Ramona. Deputies at the home on Olive now tell us that the child was bedridden and blind. Child abuse investigators have been there all night at what appears to be a foster home. We're expecting the Sheriff's Department to set out a press release any minute, and we'll bring you the new information as soon as we get it. Melissa Messia is watching some slowing on the 5.
Well, Koshal, getting out of the South Bay, we have heavy traffic on the 5 North. This starts at H Street. You can see speeds there down to about 25 miles per hour. On the Coronado Bridge, it has cleared nicely. However, there are reports of a hit and run there, so do watch out for that. Let's turn it over right now to Robert for weather.
Thanks, Melissa. Good morning to you at home. Grab your cell phone camera. Spectacular sunrise this morning with all those clouds out there. Spring Valley showing a little bit of the sunshine trying to peek on through. We'll keep the high clouds from time to time today, but we'll still get up to 76 for the coast, low 80s for the inland valleys after a morning mainly in the mid-50s right now.
Covering major news across San Diego, you're watching 10 News Midday.
There was anger over Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger's commutation of a convicted killer sentence, and now legislation is being proposed to prevent this type of thing.
10 News reporter Steve Fiorina joins us now with who's involved in this and how they intend to get the law passed. Steve?
Well, Bill, it goes back to just last month. In the final hours before he left office, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger almost cut in half the prison term for Esteban Nunez, the son of a political friend, the former Speaker of the California Assembly. Now the district attorney and the victim's parents are part of the effort to change the law.
Esteban Nunez was initially sentenced to 16 years in prison for his role in the stabbing death of college student Luis Santos in the fall of 2008. Governor Schwarzenegger shortened the sentence to 7 years just before he left office, saying 16 years was excessive since Nunez didn't inflict the fatal wound. That sparked outrage in the district attorney's office and with the parents of the victim. Today we'll hear about proposed legislation to curb the governor's power to commute prison terms. And Fred and Kathy Santos will be in San Diego in support.
I'm very disturbed. I cannot believe that he did such a sneaky thing on his last day in office.
We're just numb and we're angry at the same time because we think this is gross injustice.
I spoke with Fred Santos just minutes ago as he and his wife are boarding a plane up in the Bay Area en route to Lindbergh Field, and they are as focused as ever. We'll look at that proposed legislation and the emotion accompanying it tonight on 10 News at 5 and later newscasts, as well as providing in-depth information on our webpage, 10news.com. Steve Fiorina, 10 News.
Steve, thank you. 2 men are in custody in connection with a huge drug bust in Imperial Beach this morning. We've been following the story for you since it broke at 4:30.
And we've just learned that the value of the pot alone is worth almost $700,000. 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco with how police intercepted the shipment.
People who live here along 7th Street say for the most part it's quiet. They were shocked to find out that hundreds of bales of marijuana were found inside this house. You could see officers inside the garage of the home late Wednesday night. We've concealed their faces because they're undercover. They passed bale after bale of marijuana, enough to fill the beds of 2 pickup trucks. More than half a ton of pot confiscated, but that's not all. Investigators say they also seized meth, cocaine, and $1,000 cash.
They could be distributed anywhere. They could go to other distributors, they could have gone direct sales, they could end up on the streets, they could have ended up anywhere. It's a really good thing that we got them off the streets before they were able to go anywhere.
Investigators don't know where the drugs were headed or where they came from. Police say they got a tip that this U-Haul would be used to deliver and or pick up drugs from the 2-story rental home in the 500 block of 7th Street. Neighbors say they never saw much activity at the house, but they also say this is the second drug bust in this neighborhood in recent months.
I feel safe where I'm at. It doesn't really surprise me though.
I mean, that's pretty astonishing how that influx even gets through a community like this. But like I said, it's sad that people that aren't from this area come and give the city a bad reputation.
One neighbor told us the people who live here only moved in a few months ago, and she thought it was odd. There were always expensive cars outside, but it didn't appear there was any furniture inside the house. In Imperial Beach, Rachel Bianco, 10 News.
Police arrested 37-year-old Juan Rodriguez and 35-year-old Eddie Martinez in this morning's drug bust, and now they're trying to determine if the two have criminal records and where they're from.
The 19-year-old man who caused a chain reaction crash that killed a local Marine and a young woman will be sentenced at 1:30 today. Oscar Tinoco crashed into a car full of Marines along Interstate 15 near Gopher Canyon Road back in October of 2009. 19-year-old Lance Corporal Robert Austin died in that crash, and 22-year-old Sarah Garcia of Fallbrook was killed moments later when her car slammed into the wreckage. Tinoco could get up to 19 years in prison at today's sentencing. The accused drywaller bandit heads to court today to find out if he'll stand trial for a series of armed bank robberies in San Diego and Pasadena. John Oshcom was arrested earlier this month after deputies say he used a loaded gun to rob a Chase bank in Encinitas.
A 17-year-old Mexican boy has confessed to killing a popular San Diego professor. 45-year-old Henry Acejo was found stabbed to death in his Tijuana apartment last December. Authorities in Baja arrested the teenager on Tuesday. He said he had an intimate relationship with Professor Acejo and stabbed him during an argument. Acejo taught language classes at Southwestern College, San Diego State, and San Diego Community College. A member of the UC San Diego student government says the editor of the campus newspaper, The Koala, personally attacked her with a doctored front page picture and a defamatory headline she calls obscene.
10 News reporter Itika Malanes explains how money might have motivated the attack.
We can't show you the original picture recently published in The Koala. It shows a man's genitalia in Carly Thomas's face.
Mortification.
And the headline next to it says, Carly Thomas is a fat whore.
Just kind of fell apart and called my mom.
This student body leader believes it's retaliation for her decision to cut funding to the Koala newspaper.
It's distasteful.
A UCSD representative gave us this statement. Under the First Amendment, the university is severely limited in the actions it can take in response to content published by students.
I don't think it's free speech when it's obscene. There's, sexual harassment.
We are at the Koala.
Chris Gregorian is the Koala editor behind this controversial picture and article. 10 News couldn't find him at the newspaper's campus office. We showed the picture to UCSD students.
I would say it's disturbing and inappropriate.
And it's offensive. I understand the whole free speech thing, so I know where they're coming from, but at the same time, is it really necessary to go this far?
Thomas is fighting back, but so far, not much luck.
The UCSD police said that they couldn't take the report based on the First Amendment.
The college senior worries future employers will see the picture and move on to the next candidate. At UCSD, Itika Malanes, 10 News.
Koala's editor told 10 News he would only comment on the story if we bought him a case of beer. We didn't, since it's our policy not to pay for interviews.
Local agencies, fearing the loss of redevelopment money by March 1st, are scrambling to lock in billions with the city. The story in today's Union Tribune is by writer Roger Sholey, who's in the UT newsroom to talk with us about it right now. Roger, what are some of these projects that will lose if Governor Brown takes away the redevelopment money?
Well, almost everything you can think of in downtown and many other neighborhoods in San Diego could be affected. The North Embarcadero Visionary Plan, the proposed expansion of the convention center, numerous parks. Then in the neighborhoods, all sorts of housing, affordable housing ideas, improvements to streets and sidewalks. It's a whole laundry list of billions of dollars.
It's a long list. So what's being done to keep that money from going back to the state?
Well, the city's asking its citizen advisory committees to come up with their highest priorities, and then there's going to be kind of a legal maneuvering within the city to try and set up a lockbox to keep the money from going to the state. And that is very problematic because there are going to be huge legal battles, and it's possible that all this work will be for naught.
Fascinating story, Roger, in today's Union Tribune on the front page above the fold, or you can read it online by going to signonsandiego.com.
About a half an hour ago, a meeting to discuss the proposal to build a football stadium in Los Angeles got started. The proposed billion-dollar stadium would be adjacent to the Staples Center. The president of Anschutz Entertainment Group, which is proposing the stadium, says it will not cost any taxpayer money and will create 20,000 to 30,000 jobs. The proposal is contingent on an NFL team being approved for Los Angeles. Billionaire Ed Roski has a competing proposal for a stadium in the City of Industry about 30 miles from downtown.
The city of El Cajon is now taking nominations for its Youth of the Year awards. Two of them, a middle school student and a high school student, will be honored for good deeds and community service. Nominations will be accepted by El Cajon through the 11th of next month. You can actually get a form on our website, 10news.com. Just click on the red TV button.
San Diegans are demanding change after 10 News revealed just how much of our taxpayer dollars are going to pay for unused sick days for county employees. In numbers crunched by the Watchdog Institute, in the last 4 years alone, the county has paid out about $2.5 million in unused sick days. 10 News first broke the story on Tuesday night. Since then, the County Taxpayers Association is proposing a solution. Now taxpayer advocates are calling for a cap on sick day payouts, similar to a $15,000 cap being debated by New Jersey's state legislature.
That is a waste of taxpayer dollars. Definitely needs to be a cap.
County Supervisor Diane Jacob is willing to consider a cap, but she says the sick day benefit is critical to attracting and retaining high-level managers to maintain the county's sterling credit rating.
Right, good morning on this Thursday, June 6th. Surf's up. We've got some gnarly waves to tell you about, but first let's take a look outside. Here it is, Pacific Terrace for you. Wow, just foggy out there, super hazy. Now, I want to tell you, it's a good time to take advantage of our beaches, but there is a surf advisory in place until Saturday morning. There will be 6 to 10 foot waves with local sets of up to 12 feet. Now you want to be aware of strong, dangerous rip currents. If you're headed into the water, please be careful for that. Now here's your average temperatures for the next 3 days. 69 today and tomorrow, 70 on Saturday. Now in 15 minutes, how things are heating up at our inland valleys. I will have that for you. All right, people living in Escondido are waking up to a full-scale crime scene in their neighborhood after a wanted felon was followed by police last night and shot dead when he aimed a weapon at them. UTTV reporter Tristan Nichols joins us live from the scene.
Good morning. Yes, as you can see behind me, it's still a full-scale crime scene. Last night at around 8 o'clock, a known felon was being chased by undercover officers in vehicles. He was believed to be armed and dangerous. The police tried to guide him into a car park and he attempted to flee. He crashed into a wall before getting out and firing or aiming a weapon which is believed to be a shotgun at the police officers. Now the man was shot, they administered first aid, he died at the scene, the body is still here this morning. Anyway, when officers approached the car, they found 7 pipe bombs. Now, earlier I was joined by Lieutenant Neil Griffin, press officer for Escondido Police. Here's what he had to say.
Then called the Metro Arson Strike Team to the scene. They located a total of 7 pipe bombs in the vehicle. All those pipe bombs have now been rendered safe, and we're beginning our investigation of the actual shooting.
Motorists are having to choose different routes to get to and from work. We'll be bringing you the latest throughout the morning. Back to the studio.
All right, Tristan, thank you so much for that report. Yes, definitely some frightening moments there. Now, a House committee is holding yet another hearing this morning into the IRS's lavish spending on training conferences just one day after the acting head of the agency placed 2 officials on administrative leave for their role in these conferences. Now, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee released an audit that pointed out several meetings from 2010 now in question. One of the events included an employee conference that cost more than a whopping $4 million. You're actually looking at live pictures, by the way, at the hearing. It is officially underway this morning on Capitol Hill. Senior officials apparently stayed in luxury hotel rooms, which I am assuming is a picture you're looking at right now, and they received free drinks and food. Apparently these rooms also cost more than $3,500 a night. This morning, the Obama administration is on the defense after a report found the government may have collected phone records from millions of Americans without them knowing. A senior Obama official isn't confirming the report, but says the government has the right to collect phone records to protect Americans from terror threats. This all started from a report from the UK-based newspaper, The Guardian. The report said the National Security Agency collected phone records, including phone numbers, location, time, and duration of the calls, from millions of Verizon customers under a top-secret order. According to the report, the court order allowed for records to be collected from April up until June 19th. It is now confirmed the gun that accidentally went off killing a 10-year-old boy in Miramar Ranch belonged to the parents of the girl also playing in the garage at the same time. Police say the unemployed parents of the 9-year-old girl were not home when the shot was fired Tuesday afternoon. They had left their 14-year-old daughter in charge while they were out. Eric Cleus and his 9-year-old neighbor were playing with the gun in the garage of the girl's home on Ivy Hill Drive. Now, some neighbors are concerned on how easily the kids got a hold of the gun.
It's very sad that a person doesn't take a little more care of where they keep loaded weapons, especially if, from what I understand, this was a clubhouse for all these kids to go to.
All right, and we'll be back in a few minutes with more San Diego First News.